Hi everybody, Suzanne Tomasello here. I am an adult educator and motivational coach, and today I'm going to be talking to you about healthy eating and getting ready to do meal planning on a budget. So this is actually day 2. I did a video yesterday, but I broke it down into 2 so it wouldn't be so long. So bear with me for a moment. I'm going to share my screen here so that I can get to the content that I want to share with you. Okay, so yesterday we talked about what healthy means. We looked at following the food pyramid guide. We talked about calories and how many your body needs, as well as proteins, carbs, and fats. So today we're going to talk about the glycemic index. So the glycemic index is a measure of how quickly foods raise your blood sugar. It's specifically related to carbohydrates, so how quickly the carb raises your blood sugar. When we eat a food that spikes our blood sugar fast, it tends to lead to a crash in your blood sugar a few hours later. And so when that crash occurs, our body is left saying, quick, give me something more, because it needs that elevation again. So the speed at which carb calories hit the system can have a dramatic effect on their potential to cause overeating and weight gain. If you're on a high-carb diet, it's crucial to choose whole, unprocessed carb sources that contain fiber. The fiber can actually reduce the rate at which the glucose enters your system. Studies consistently show that people who eat foods that are highest on the glycemic index are at the greatest risk of becoming obese and diabetic. So the GI represents the total rise in a person's blood sugar level following consumption of the food. It doesn't represent the rapidity of the rise in the blood sugar, and it doesn't change based on things like other sources that may be eaten with it. So it's only strictly for carbohydrates. It doesn't matter whether there's a protein or a fat that could alter the weight and the rate at which the blood sugar is changed. It's specifically just related to that single source of the carb. So what you need to know about the glycemic index is that a lower number means that the food doesn't affect your blood sugar and insulin levels as much, and the higher number means that it affects those more. So low numbers are good and high numbers are bad. Here's a snapshot. So if you look, the column on the left indicates the item of food. The column in the middle is the number on the glycemic index scale, and then the number on the right is the number of grams. So if we look at coarse barley, it has a glycemic index value of 34 for 30 grams. So comparable 35 grams in the waffles, the Aunt Jemima Quaker Oats waffles, comparable serving, the glycemic index value is 76. So that's a huge difference. So the waffles are the one that's going to spike your blood sugar more quickly. Okay, moving on to label reading and clean eating basics. I cannot stress to you enough how much you must read labels. This one is very near and dear to me, and one of the reasons that it is so dear to me is because I have spent a number of years of my life trying to be healthy and into fitness. So just to give you a quick background on me, at one point in my life, as a child I was chubby. As a teenager, I lost weight, I worked out excessively, and I didn't really follow a good eating plan. I was in a very restrictive diet mode, but I got down to 115, which is pretty small for me because I'm 5'8"-ish. When I was a young adult in college, there was about 4 years of my life that I gained a significant amount of weight, just being busy, working a full-time job and going to school full-time, and I was in a relationship, so you get the picture. There just was no time to go to the gym, and slowly but surely my eating habits deteriorated, and I got up to 195 pounds. After that, I got back into my working out mode and eating healthy, or what I thought was healthy, and I got down to a very healthy 135 to 140, and I maintained that for about 12 years until I got pregnant with my now 2 children. So that was in 2012, at which time, of course, I gained weight during my pregnancies and so forth. And then more recently, when I had my daughter, I really started paying more attention to clean eating foods. Now, throughout that time frame that I said, for the 12 years that I was really into health and fitness, I thought I was being really healthy because I was eating the right products, the products that have been marketed to me for years as the right products: diet, light, low calorie. And those are the kinds of foods that I chose to eat. But I had a rude awakening when I watched the documentary. And one of the things in one of the documentaries that I watched was that one of the products that I bought on a regular basis and ate thinking that I was getting this rich, super antioxidant, powerful food, I was found to be that I was not getting that at all. So one of the products I used to buy was a specific granola bar brand, which had blueberries, and the blueberries were touted as being this antioxidant superfood. So that was great. Thought I was doing something good for me. It was lowering calories, and I was doing something healthy, and it was a healthy snack, so I was good to go. But it was pointed out to me in the documentary that if you looked at the ingredients list, not just the label, but the actual ingredients, that there was in fact no blueberries in this product at all. What was in the product was cranberries, which were injected with an artificial blueberry flavor. And the reason for that is because cranberries are far cheaper than blueberries. So it was a big eye-opener to me that I really needed to start looking at labels and really needed to start looking at ingredients, because what is on the box on the outside is not always what you think it is on the inside. So that just sort of talks to you a little bit about how smart marketing fools us. So reading the ingredients, you need to understand that it's more than calories, fat, proteins, and carbs. So I knew to look for lower calories. I knew to look for lower sugar. I knew to look for lower amounts of fat and higher amounts of protein and lower amounts of carb, but I didn't really look at the ingredients. So oftentimes our ingredients are filled with man-made chemical and nutrient or mineral deficient ingredients, which are causing disease. And more research is coming out every day how these ingredients are linked to several diseases: inflammation, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, just to name a few. So the food industry is a billion-dollar industry, and let's face it, they're in this business to make a profit. So basically, our food supply is being processed and refined more and more. It's altered from its natural state so that it lasts longer, it tastes better or different, and it can be produced cheaper and in mass quantities. As a result of that, the nutritional value to our foods gone, or seriously lessened anyhow. So you really need to stay away from those refined and processed foods as much as possible. And obviously, you know, we still need to buy processed foods, certain things like crackers and breads. So you really want to just make sure that the ones that you're choosing have more natural ingredients as opposed to those man-made ingredients. So pesticides and organics, next topic. Basically, I'll be honest with you, I don't buy everything organic. I'm a middle-class, average income earning household with 2 children, and sometimes buying organic just doesn't fit my budget. There are certain things that I do spend the money on for organics though, and I'll just share with you here. So the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the Environmental Working Group looked at several data from the USDA, and they came up with these 2 lists based on what has been shown to have the most pesticides and residue on them. So the Dirty Dozen, that includes apples, bell peppers, blueberries, celery, cucumbers, grapes, lettuce, nectarines, peaches, potatoes, spinach, and strawberries. Those are the fruits or vegetables that have been shown to have the highest amount of pesticides in them. Strawberries, for example, had over 72 different pesticides and chemical residue on them. The Clean 15, these are the ones that if you're looking at your budget and you can't afford to buy all organic, that you could feel better about choosing these ones to not be organic products. And a good rule of thumb is usually those ones that have a harder peel on the outside are generally safer to purchase non-organic. And just another idea is you would probably want to wash the peel very well, because even though if you're peeling it, that residue could get onto your fingers and your hands and then into the fresh, fleshy part of the fruit or vegetable on the inside. So just keep that in mind. So your Clean 15, asparagus, avocado, cabbage, cantaloupe, corn, eggplant, grapefruit, kiwi, mango, mushroom, onion, pineapple, sweet pea, sweet potatoes, and watermelon. Okay, so artificial ingredients, I sort of touched on this a little bit earlier. There are thousands of different additives out there, so I'm just going to go over a few of the top scary ones. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, you've probably heard of this before. It is a neurotoxin, and it's used as a flavor enhancer in a lot of the foods that we eat, canned foods, frozen, processed, and fast foods. Be on the lookout for those that also contain MSG. They are textured protein, autolyzed yeast, hydrolyzed protein, plant protein, oat flour, and vegetable protein, sodium and calcium caseinate, and yeast extract. So reactions to MSG include weight gain, heart problems, headaches, ADD, and asthma. Food dyes. These are derived from coal tar and petroleum. They can be found in things like baked goods, beverages, candies, ice cream, cereals, makeup. They've been linked to tumors as well as hyperactivity and behavioral effects in children. It's not in the slides, but something else that's really important is in other countries, a lot of the food dyes that are allowed in our food system are banned. So that should be a little bit of an eye-opener as well, that if other countries are saying we won't allow this in our food supply, why are we still buying products with these in there, and why are they even in our food supply in the first place? So you have to take responsibility. You cannot rely on our government industries to make these choices for you. You need to be an educated consumer, and that is part of my goal, is to help teach you and for us to learn together, because I'm constantly learning new things all the time. And now that I have two small children, a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old, I am paying a lot more attention to what I am giving them and what I'm teaching them to eat. Just a side note regarding food colorings, there are natural and safe food colorings like paprika, turmeric, and beet juice. And if you are buying these processed foods in an organic product, then it means that the food has been made or grown without the use of artificial ingredients. So if there's food dyes in them, then they're from natural sources. And I'll give you an example. Goldfish, which my son has had, terrible, all kinds of artificial stuff in there and food colorings. But Organic Annie's makes a product. They're actually like little animal cookies, and they're different colors, so they look cute and they're fun. Those are made from natural food coloring, so vegetable dyes and things like that. So you don't have to, as some people might think, punish your children by not giving them these things. There are other alternatives out there, and quite honestly, they're really not that much more money. So just keep your eye out for those when you're in the grocery store. Okay, sweeteners. So artificial sweeteners, these account for some of the most adverse reactions to food, and food additives combined include things like headaches, dizziness, rashes, vision problems, slurred speech, and can trigger or worsen chronic illnesses such as MS, fibromyalgia, birth defects, and Parkinson's disease. Sucralose has been identified as causing gastrointestinal problems, slurred speech, mood swings, blood sugar increase, and weight gain. And studies show that these artificial sweeteners actually stimulate your appetite and increase your bad carbohydrate cravings, and stimulate fat storage and weight gain. So these chemical additives basically have been marketed to us as being a healthier alternative because they're lower in calories, when in fact they are wreaking havoc on our body. Our body is getting this huge intense sugar rush, and it's being told chemically not to react the way that it should to sugar, but really what it's doing is it's making us crave it even more. Our body is saying, hey, I need that big sugar rush again. So it's causing all kinds of problems, including things like inflammation as well. High fructose corn syrup, you've probably heard of this, and that's a good thing because consumers are becoming more educated, which means we are looking for products that don't have this in it anymore. And so when you're walking down the aisles, check out the boxes, you're going to notice a lot of products, particularly children's products, now have right on them, no high fructose corn syrup. So this is made from genetically modified corn through a chemical brewing process, and you're exposed to mercury. Side effects include liver damage, hypertension, elevated bad cholesterol levels, weight gain, and risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Products that may contain this include various processed foods, yogurt, applesauce, soft drinks, children's vitamins, jellies and jams, and even ketchup. Healthier options for sweeteners are cane sugar, agave, stevia, honey, beet rock sugar, and then two things that I like to add to things like yogurt are pure vanilla or pure caramel extract. So just to recap from yesterday, you want to try to eat foods within the correct servings of your food pyramid or food guide, or look at your calories to determine your caloric needs and try to stay within them. But within those calories, we understand that each calorie is not created equal. Calories from fats, carbs, and proteins all affect our body differently. So you want to eat the right composition of fats, carbs, and proteins. So for protein, it's 10 to 35% of your total calories depending on your activity level. Protein is more work to digest, therefore you burn more calories digesting it. High protein foods include lean meat, poultry, seafood, soy products, eggs, dairy foods, legumes, nuts, and seeds. Other sources are whole grains, rice, corn, beans, legumes, oatmeal, peas, and peanut butter. Carbohydrates, 45 to 60% of your daily total calories. You should be choosing complex carbs as they take longer to digest and therefore leave you feeling fuller longer. Whole plant foods are great sources of complex carbs, so green vegetables, whole grains and foods made from them such as oatmeal, pasta, and whole grain bread. Starchy vegetables such as potatoes, sweet potatoes, corn, and pumpkin, beans, lentils, and peas. Fat should account for 30% or less of the calories consumed daily. With saturated fat, that would be fat that turns into a solid at room temperature, accounting for no more than 10% of your total fat intake. Fats are a concentrated form of energy which help maintain your body temperature and protect body tissues and organs. Fat also plays an essential role in carrying the 4 fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Excess calories from protein and carbs are converted to and stored as fat, and just so you know, you can never get rid of your fat cells. So basically your fat cells, they just expand and then they actually burst and can multiply, and all you can ever do is shrink them. You can't get rid of them unless you have some kind of medical intervention like liposuction. What you need to know about the glycemic index: a lower number means that food doesn't affect your blood sugar and insulin levels as much. A higher number means that food affects those levels more. So in short, low numbers are good and high numbers are bad. Reading labels: you need to read more than the front of the box, the pretty bold wording to make you think it's better than it is. Try to buy organic when you can. Try to buy food in its most natural form to avoid artificial ingredients, which have been linked to various diseases, weight gain, and obesity. And here's something to think about. So an activity for you: look at some of the foods in your cupboards, your fridge, and your freezer. What are some of the ingredients? I highly encourage you to Google a couple of them. I think you would be alarmed at what you might find out there. Do you think you've been eating the right composition of fats, carbs, and proteins? Think back to your foods that you've taken in the last couple of days. If you have a food diary or a journal, you might want to look over that and see where you can start to make some changes. And do yourself a favor and throw away the foods that you have in your home that are not good for you. Try to find a healthy recipe to share with the group tomorrow. So think about some of the things that you eat on a regular basis. Based on what I've told you today, are there any revisions that you could make to it to make it a healthier option? Or think about just a healthy recipe that you know is healthy and share it with the group. That way we can all have half a dozen or a dozen recipes to take from this to start sharing with our own family. So that's pretty much it for today. Please make sure that you participate and share that information in the group. And I will look forward to seeing you in the group and participating. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me either in the group or send me an email, s.tomasello, Tomasello @live.com, or right through Facebook Messenger. Okay, that's all for today. Take care.